So, hi everybody. Last time we had a look onto control structures like the if statement, the switch statement, the for loop, the while loop, and the do while loop. And we've seen how these control structures work and how we can benefit from using them. Today we have a different topic, and the topic that we're going to talk about today is the operators. Specifically in this video, we are going to talk about the arithmetic operators, which are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and we're going to talk about the remainder as well, if you know that from mathematics. So let's get into code and see how arithmetic operators work in JavaScript. I have here Plunker open, and as you see, it's pretty empty except for the use strict. We're using strict mode. So you're probably gonna ask me before I type anything here, addition, this is pretty easy, like 2 plus 6 is 8. Okay, that's if we're adding two numbers, but in JavaScript you can add more than just two numbers. You can add a string to a number, or a string to a string, or a string to a boolean. So those have their own rules in JavaScript. Let's look into that. But first, I'm going to start with the simple example. I'm going to say var declare variable x and set it to 3, declare variable y and set it to 5, and then declare variable z and set it to x plus y. And then we're going to just console log this to the console and console log z. And you probably know before I run this right away that this is gonna be 8 because 3 plus 5 is 8. That's trivial, right? So let's say I don't want z, but I want the new value to be stored in x. So I could just remove z and say x is equal to x plus y, which means that I will get the current value of x and add it to the current value of y, and the new value will be stored in x, changing the x value. So if I run this again, you're gonna get the same value. Okay, so this is pretty easy, right? But you probably have seen this form before, x plus equals to y, and if you've never seen it, that's okay. I'm gonna explain this because this is exactly the same as this. It's just a shorthand. It's just, so you type it a little bit easier. So if I remove this, I'll still get 8 because that means that x is equal to x plus y, which is the same thing as we just had, but in a simpler way to write. You could use both ways. They're correct. Depends on what you like, actually. So we probably seen as well x plus plus, which shows that we're incrementing x plus 1 by 1. So if I do x plus plus, we're gonna get 4 because we've seen that 4 whenever we have had a look on the for loop. Whenever we talked about the afterthought, we used the x plus plus because it allowed us to increment by 1, and this actually is the same as this: x plus equals to 1, or x is equal to x plus 1. So you could use any of these, but basically this one is very short to type and it's very easy to type, and it's very easy to type. That's why we're gonna use that, because it's very simple to write. And if you want to use any of the other forms, don't like they're there, you could use them. They have the same meaning and the same logic, but here you see x plus plus is very simple, and that's what we use. We could also add floating points. We've seen integers 3 and 5. So let me remove this, and here I'm gonna create z again, and I'm gonna say z is equal to x plus y. Okay, and then console logging z. But here we could do something like 3.5. So we see 3.5 plus 5 is equal to 8.5. That means we can deal with floating points and no problem with that. And we could do like 5.1. And you see now we get 8.6, which is correct. So no problem dealing with floating points in JavaScript whenever we do addition. So Okay, so those are floating points. Now, what if I change this to a string and say hello, and change this to hello world? So what do you think? Now this is not mathematics at all. This is just text, and this is just text, and we're trying to add them. So what is going on? What is going to happen here? Oh, we get hello world. So that's not a mathematical operation, isn't it? So what happened here? So exactly, JavaScript tried to add these numbers, but it found out, oh, that's not numbers, so this is just text. And whenever it finds text, it tries to add text together. And how does it add text together? It just concatenates that text together. And that's why you see hello, and we have space world, and then that's why you see hello world. What if I, okay, so that's if we have two strings. So what if I have here, let's say 10, y is equal to 10. So we're now trying to add a string to a number. So how does that go? So hello 10 or hello, or is it gonna do any operation? So let's see. Oh, hello 10. So JavaScript basically sees, oh, we have a string, and now there's nothing, you cannot do hello plus 10. So JavaScript will try to get anything done, so you don't get an error. So it tries to figure out, okay, this is a string, this is a number. Maybe I can cast this number into a string and say hello 10, so you would not get an error. And that's what happened here. Casted y into a string, and now you get hello 10. So what if I change this into hello true, and y is equal to true? So what happens here? Hello true. So it's still the same. It finds, oh, there's a string, there's a boolean. We can't do that, but I can change true to a string, making it work, and change, and that actually what you see here. What if I change this to null? Same, hello null, changed null into a string, cast it into a string, and defined. So change and defined into a string. And what else do we? Oh, okay, we can set an array and see what would happen if I set an array like that. It's crazy, right? Try to add an array to a string, and you see hello 1 2 3 4 5 6. So change the array into string and concatenated it to hello. Okay, so that's for strings. So whenever we see string, that means that and we do an addition. Now JavaScript tries to cast the other value to a string, whatever it is. Okay, so what if I have true, x as true, but y as 1? So now we're trying to add true to 1. Remember when we talked about the if statement, and we've seen that, and we checked and we've seen that true has the same value as 1, but not the same type. Whenever we use the double equal, yeah, we got true, that 1 is equal to true. But whenever we use the triple equal, we got false, because 1 and true do not have the same type. So here, whenever we're doing arithmetic operations, let's see the output first, and we see 2. Okay, so that means that true has been treated like 1, and now 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Let's change y to be true, so we're now adding true to true. And yes, exactly, true will be treated as 1 since we're trying to use an arithmetic operation, making it 2. That's how smart JavaScript is. It tries to see the best fit for addition, and that's why it's seen true and true. It can be transformed into numbers or casted to numbers, which is 1 and 1, and that's why we get 2. So what if I have, let's say, 15 and have this as null? What do we get? Is that possible? Okay, we get 15. That means that null has been treated like 0. So whenever we're doing arithmetic operations, null has been treated like 0. What if I have undefined? Would it be treated like 0? Let's see. No. We got nan. What is that? It means not a number. It's a special type here. Is a special value here. It's actually you'd be shocked to know that not a number is actually has the type of a number, but let's talk about that later. But not a number means that this operation is not possible. It's not mathematically possible. A number plus undefined. So JavaScript does not treat undefined as a number at all. So whenever you try to add it to a number, it will be treated as a not a number operation. But if we're adding undefined to a string, it can cast undefined to a string. That's why we've seen as we tried earlier. So this is addition. Oh, we also could do something weird like making 15 a number and trying to add to it, let's say 14. And you might think that JavaScript could find out that this is 15 and this is 14. That's you might get 29, right? But no, whenever we're using addition, it does not do that. It sees a string and a string and it just concatenates both of them. That's why we get 15, 14. So that's it for addition. You see there is tricky parts here whenever we're adding different types. But if while using this a lot, you'll get the hang of it, and you'll be good. So we just talked about addition. So let's talk about subtraction. And subtraction works a little bit differently. It's not as complicated as the addition. So let's have an example here. So instead of, let's just refactor this here and change this to a number. So we're gonna have 5, and let's say this is 3. And let me just edit my setting here first. Okay. So so we're gonna say z now is equal to x minus y, and you probably guess the outcome that we're gonna have. It's 2 because 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. Okay, so that's pretty easy and trivial. So we still can actually do a something. Let me just comment this. We can do something like that. X minus minus works the same as x plus plus. Instead of incrementing by 1, now we're decrementing. We can still do something like x minus equals to 5, for example, which means x is equal to x minus 5. So these things still works the same as addition. But what does not work the same, or at least let's test this first. Let me change this to hello world and set this to world and try to remove world from hello world and see if that actually works. And we get not a number. So it means that we cannot subtract strings from strings because you probably asked. We actually had this on addition. We could concatenate hello to world. So now why can't we just remove world from hello world? Because whenever you're concatenating, JavaScript is not doing something very complicated. It's just adding, the string to a string, concatenating both strings to each other. But if you look here, if we're trying to remove world, JavaScript will have to search for the word world and then try to remove it, and that's a little bit complicated to be done. So that's why this operation is not possible. But what's possible, and you'll be shocked. Let's say if I have a string to be, for example, let's say 10, and let's say I have a string of 5. Those are not numbers, those are strings. And then I try to subtract that. Oh, look, I got a number, which is 5. So JavaScript tried here to cast. So it found that we're trying to subtract both strings from each other. But so instead of giving us not a number right away, it just looked and seen, okay, we have 10 as a string, we can change that or cast that into a number. And then we have 5, we can cast that into a number, which means we could have 10 minus 5. So instead of throwing you not a number, it just tried first to cast those into a number so you can get a value. So that's pretty much for subtraction. We could still do a string of 10 minus 5. We'll still get the same value. And if we look into if we try to do the boolean thing and change y into true, true will be treated as 1, and now we can get 9 and so on. We can use null and then run that. We still get 10 because 10 is a string. It will be tried to be casted as a number since we're using subtraction, but null will be still treated as 0. And if I try to subtract undefined, I'm still gonna get not a number because, as I mentioned, undefined could not be used in arithmetic operations. So that's it for subtraction. Pretty easy, and it's very a little bit different. I'm not gonna say very, but it's a little bit different than addition because it would be more complicated if you try to remove a string from a string than just concatenating it.